So we have another meta reanalysis. As we have seen, we haven't had a ban list, which is actually rather surprising. I would have thought Konami may have... I thought Konami was going to do one of two things. I thought Konami was going to jump on it and like do a really minute ban list on like June 1st or June 2nd, so early in the week. And I was hedging more my bet on that, or they were going to do the opposite and just not do a ban list. And they seem to have picked to not do a ban list at the moment. So we're tentatively running on a meta that's surviving one day at a time. But it still means that we have a meta to analysis, and this is going to be particularly short because nothing has really changed other than Sky Strikers jumping way up the list and people in North America playing on Dueling Book with Meknut Gearsu because they finally have access to Eternity Code. Even though they had access on it with Dueling Book anyway because they just made it legal when EU got it, they now have actually got access to it. So people that only play with what they have access to are now using Meknut Orcus Gearsu. So Orcus have jumped up on the build, and Memaus have done their thing again. So let's just get straight into it and just do the thing, shall we? Because I don't think there's going to be really all that much to talk about. So you just got a big zoom in of my ugly mug. So again, on the left is YGO Scope's top 25 decks for the week, for the last 7 days. And on the right is my running graph from starting from early May until now. You can see last week's and this week's again. And again, you're going to see is like there's not much in the way of change. So we'll go through and we'll just quickly just snap them through really quickly. Because not a lot's changed, as I said. So Southern Grey had a 54% win rate. It's still got a 54% win rate. It's still top of the list. Adamantipator went from a 61 to 62% win rate, but it's gone from second most played to third most played because people have decided that Sky Striker is a really good deck to play, thanks to the person who won one of those online tournaments with Simo. It's still got a 53% win rate, though, but it's now the second most played deck with over 700 more times played than Adamantipator. I still do not get this fascination. Yeah, I get it. Sky Striker won a tournament, so we've got to go and test it. But you've got to also realize that that person who won with Sky Striker has been playing Sky Striker since it was released. So he's got, 2.5 years of experience with the deck now? The deck is old. Like, it is had a lot of longevity to the deck. So he knows how to play that deck through and how to implement new bits of tech. Just simply going, oh, look at that, Sky Striker won a tournament, I'm going to go pick up a core because it's really cheap before it goes up in price, and I'm going to do really well with it. Don't have that mentality, because once again, the deck cannot really perform on a consistent basis without Engage. Period. I don't care if you get multi-roll to 3 and Widow Anchor to 3. Everything else can go to 3. Until Engage comes off the list and you can get that card advantage win condition back, I don't think you can win consistently with it unless you're an expert at the deck, right? Eldlick, 57% win rate in 4th, has jumped to 61% win rate still in 4th. Not really much of a change there. It's always been floating around that 57 to 62% range, so shrug shoulders. Dinosaur from 58% to 57%, still sitting in 5th. It's been in there the entire meta. I think it's been in 5th place the entire time I've started this list, so no surprise there. Eldlick Synchron, 70% win rate to 67% win rate, from 6th place to still in 6th place. This doesn't surprise me all that much. It's still 66% or higher, which is my threshold for tier 1. It's when it drops below that we can start raising the red flag there, right? Really not much to say there, honestly. Until it gets above 75, that's where the whole tier 0 comes into it. But being at that rate, it's been there the entire time. People may just be getting bored of the deck and starting to make casually bad mistakes. It could be people just getting bored with the meta, to be honest, but there's nothing really surprising there. It's still the best deck of the format, bar none. Altergeist, 62% win rate, down to 57%. And it's gone from 7th to 9th. And I reckon this is actually a case of because of the rise of Altergeist, and you'll see this a lot with control-based decks. If a control deck that uses a main archetype, Guru Control, Altergeist, and the main two that I can think of right now, suddenly shoot to the top, in response, you'll find hard deck, side deck counters to the deck pop back into the side deck. Altergeist had this big issue in the last year, where the 15 cards being side decked, 12 of them were good against Altergeist by natural. You didn't actually had to go and say these 3 cards are my Altergeist matchup side cards. You just had them because you were siding for other decks, and then you just had your Altergeist counters. Guru Control had the same thing when it came to the YCS earlier this year. There were just so many side decked counters that were just naturally side decked without having to think about it, which is why I had so much of an issue. and YCS Sydney. So seeing it bounce up and down like this isn't surprising, especially when it had a 62% win rate and it jumped something like 5 positions 2 weeks ago to last week. It was natural that those side deck choices were going to come back out, and it was going to get slapped back down to where it belongs, and around that 10th position rating. Orcust, again, Orcust Gisu being legal now in the NA, we're going to see some more changes here. It's not much though, 50% win rate to 52, went from 8th to 7th, not much of a surprise there, people toying around with it. I think, again, loss of Harp Horror is just too much for the deck to really rely on. It's too, I'm not going to say it's inconsistent, there's still consistency in the deck, but it's not resilient, it's too fragile, that's the word I'm after. 1-2 hand traps, 1-2 negates. Just simply a 3 negate board can stop the deck from playing, really. A Cold by the Grave or a DD Crow can stop it, for crying out loud. Invoke Pure, I still don't understand how people are playing this deck. It's never had a 50% win rate or higher. It's gone from 44% win rate to 48% win rate, but it's gone from 9th most played to 12th. So I reckon probably the more skillful players are still playing it, while those that aren't playing it so well have decided to pick up something else. Good choice. Subterrors haven't really moved. 57% win rate to a 59% win rate. It's been hovering around there for the entire meta. It's gone from 10th position, stayed in 10th position. It's been this median, like this mid-range deck the entire time. So if you want a decent deck that's cheap except for extravagance, play Guru Control. Just play 3 Desires. It still works. It's just a little bit more inconsistent. You don't like banishing all 3 copies of your Fiendus, for instance. Heroes, again, don't understand what people play in this deck, and I think people are starting to catch on to that. 47% win rate. That stayed consistent, but it's gone from 11th position to 16th. I don't understand why people keep playing these decks which haven't had a 50% win rate. The same thing goes for Burning Abyss, but that's come back up. We'll get to that in a second. Mermails have gone from 12th with a 57% win rate. It's got 55% win rate now, but it's gone to 8th. So it's probably because more people picking up the deck and are trialing it out, trying to figure out how they want to play it, and that comes naturally with a few losses. We'll see if it can stay back in the top 10 again this time, because it's gone up and then it's gone down. It's come back up again. So we'll see what happens now and say next week. Cyber Dragon, 54% win rate in 13th. Thank God people are starting to drop this deck. It's 51% win rate in 18th. I don't think it's a really good deck to play for a go second variant. Play Dinosaurs. It can do a hell of a lot more. You can even tech in Synchrons into Dinosaurs if you can get away from your normal summon. There's just more things that Dinosaurs can do over Cyber Dragon. Invoke Mech Knight, 63% win rate in 14th. Still got a 63% win rate. Hovered around that win rate this entire meta. Now in 13th. And I think it's just a case of the experts at the deck have held on to the deck, are still playing the deck because they know that they can pilot in such a way that it gets them wins. They've got now what Sky Striker's trying to achieve, in that consistency of winning through skill level. Those people playing Invoke Mech Knight have been playing Invoke Mech Knight for ages. They know what the deck can and can't do. Also, something that Gamer3K pointed out, and he'll remind me, Crusadia Avramax is an amazing extra deck card with a lot of effects, great protection, great way to remove problems, great way just to stonewall your opponent, and easy to get into for invoked Mech Knight. So it does make some sense that that's a boss like that will pop up in this deck and helps it clutch out some wins. But let's just be honest. Mech Knight Purple Nightfall for 2500 by itself is really oppressive. Really big card with one of the easiest summoning conditions, so long as you went second. Eldritch Invoked is seeing a reappearance in win rate. It's gone from 57% to 60%, but it's also dropped from 15th to 17th. I have a feeling that a lot of people are going away from playing Eldritch out of boredom at the rate, because week after week after week, Eldritch variants are losing play rates except for Eldritch Synchron. They're just starting to drop off the list, and I seriously think it's just down to boredom. The deck, to me, is very straightforward. It does the same thing, and I think I got bored trialing, and after a couple weeks of just haphazardly playing it on EDO Pro, it's fairly easy to see what the deck wants to do. Madolche had a 55% win rate, it's now 59%, from 16th to 15th. Weird deck this. Experts of the deck will cry from Blue Mountain to Kingdom Come that this deck is good. I can't comment. I'm not a Madolche player. I don't understand the deck, honestly, when I read through it, but when I do come up against it, it is nasty. It can do a lot of work. Zodiac. Can someone throw this deck a bone, please? Give it back some more Dridents. 51%, still 51% from 17th to 14th. I understand the people that want to play Zodiac. We have like 3 people in our main community that's like splayed out all of their banned Zodiac cards with Please Konami as the top title. I understand it. I reckon this deck can come back to some more power and be one of those decks like Subterra, like Altergeist, that just floats around that mid-tier, that really skillful players will pilot it really well. And I don't think that would be bad for the meta in any way, shape, or form. 3 Dryden. I'd like to see what happens after that. Generaids went from 18th to 22nd with a 56% win rate down to 54%. A lot of people have said that Generaids are really good, but I think Generaids actually take a little bit too much setup. And with main deck Cosmic Cyclones, I think there's too much against the field spell. So I'm unsure as to how this deck can perform any better. I have had a friend of mine tell me that basically just simply waiting for your draw phase and Cosmic Cycloning on the chain, the field spell, can be the detriment to the deck unless they have a way to redo the field spell up. I'm unsure how to really fix that deck, but it's always been floating around that bottom 15 to 20 position. Burning Abyss. Can someone please keep telling these players that Burning Abyss doesn't have a win condition, and it's borne out in the results? It's gone from 19th position as most played to suddenly 11th on the list, but its win rate is now 44%, down from 46. It doesn't have a win con. Just stop, okay? And Shadow Pure, still falling. 43% win rate, that stayed. It's now in 21st position from 20th. It's dropped completely out. New entries into the top 20, or I should say returning entries. Thunder Dragon is back with a 56% win rate in 19th, and Mystic Mine Burn has dropped off 48% win rate, but it's gone to 20th. I'm going to blame Tom Box from MST.TV for this for the last couple of days, because he decided to show an anti-meta deck that made use of Fossil Diner, and Mystic Mine, and Fire Prison, and all these other really anti-meta cards like Inspect the Border, just really anti-meta, shut out your opponent from playing kind of cards. And I've got a feeling that a lot of people just went and started playing that deck and then started getting thumped because they had no idea how to actually play the deck. But I'm going to blame it on that. But still, Mystic Mine's legal. Main deck goes Cosmic Cyclones. You don't want to be the guy that loses to that. So what is there really to say with this? Nothing. This meta has solidified. Until we get Toon Chaos, which is on the horizon, it's on its way, we're going to see decks in the top 20 changing positions all the time as people try and find that deck that's really good that they want to play. People are going to get bored of one deck, start playing something else, but straight away, off the top, your best decks are still Eldritch Synchron, Adamancipator, Invoked Mech Knight. Like, those three have been your best three decks now this entire format. Nothing has changed, period. I don't care if Sky Strike is now the second most played deck because someone won a tournament with it. I don't care if someone went top 4 with Atlantean Mermail. Based on win rates, those three decks are still your best three decks. If you just wanted to do well, they have the power. There's nothing else really to say for this 6th of June meta-analysis. Maybe Toon Chaos or an impending ban list will change this up a bit.